went to bed, you watched round 10 of the heavyweight showdown between the two top quarterbacks in the league. You got Patrick, you got Josh Allen, and this one started quickly for Buffalo. Opening drive, it's Allen, it's Dalton Kincaid, and the Bills were firing fast.
Yeah, you say they needed a number one receiver. I guess not. Just get a number one tight end and a quarterback like Josh Allen.
They were finding the tight end. That was Kincaid on one side and now down the other way. Coach, it's Dawson Knox taking it all the way down to the 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a dime right here by Josh Allen. And you're right, man. Those tight ends showed up big.
Then the abomination that is the tush push takes up a couple of minutes of our time. Excruciating to watch, but it's successful, and the Bills come storming back. They're up 21-10 now. Third quarter, Bills are up 28-13. Patrick Mahomes needs to get something going. So who's he looking for? Hollywood Brown for 33 yards.
Oh, yeah, Hollywood sold that and got open down the sideline, and then he hits him. You know, Mahomes doesn't miss.
How about this play? 4th and 17, we're going for it. Basically, this is your ball game, and Rashee Rice is out there.
Yeah, they use the often used tactic of not blocking the best pass rusher. Got him a bunch of time. Mahomes found him on 4th and 17.
They go for it again on a 4th down. We're early in the 4th quarter. They punch it in with Kareem Hunt. It's 28-19. They're going for the 2. It's Mahomes. It's his old reliable Travis Kelce. Oh, my goodness, it's a 7-point game. A night that felt like Buffalo was dominating the entire time. The Chiefs are within a score. 4.5 minutes to go, 3rd and 10. It's Mahomes. This one, Coach, people will point out it's an interception, sort of played almost like a punt.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just trying to give your player a chance here. That's why he throws it. I mean, look, it's 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10.
3rd and 10. Give him a
it's
chance.
A 50-yard pass. You turn it over. Matt Prater now has a chance to put it away with 26 seconds left. Going off the upright. Sean McDermott can't believe it. Chiefs are going to get one more chance, at least, at the finish here. Down 7, 11 seconds left. Mahomes, we're going to Hail Mary. D. Wood, look how close this comes. Tyquan Thornton is down there.
Yes, I mean, you talk about a game of inches. I mean, the ball is literally hits his hands right there, and luckily for Buffalo, they had 2 defenders.
And Hollywood Brown was right there for the tip in case there was one. So then Rex, on the final play, they bring 5.
I love how they brought the heat in this situation, brought 5 rushers down there, puts more pressure on him, doesn't let him set up, and
even if caught, it's not going to be in the end zone. Bills hold on, and they win this round of the battle, as they so often do in the regular season. 28-21, career day for both quarterbacks in different ways. Josh Allen, completion percentage, 88%, his best ever. Flip side, Mahomes, first time in his career under 50% completion in a game. And afterwards, Mahomes at the mic talking about where Kansas City stands right now.
We've had great moments. We've had bad moments. We got to be more consistent as a team. I got to be more consistent at quarterback. And we got to be able to battle. I mean, we've kind of been in a lot of these tight, close games in our history, but they're not going our way now.
All right, put your feet up. We've got a lot to say about this game because it spoke such volumes. D. Wood, you had an immediate reaction to what we saw right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I thought Joey Bosa and that plan to rush Patrick Mahomes was outstanding by the Buffalo Bills, because we know the one thing that Josh Allen, that Patrick Mahomes has done all season, he's killed teams with his legs. Mm-hmm. But you could just see, look at Joey Bosa, letting rushers rush up the field, okay? But the way they tied it all together, they didn't give him many rush lanes to really hurt that defense. And you saw it over and over and over again, whether it was Joey Bosa, other players along the defensive line. They were whipping the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, particularly their tackles, in this football game.
We've seen it. If you want Mahomes in that offense to look human, it's attack those tackles. And we thought that problem was solved, but there were injuries through the course of this game, and they dominated up front on offense and on defense. And the Bills' offensive line punish them. This is the end of the game. They're trying to put the game away. They hand it off to Cook. Look how far this O-line pushed this D-line. This is when you have to have a stop with less than 3 minutes left, and they're taking him and pushing him. That's a Hall of Famer right there. That's a Hall of Famer that they're pushing 6 yards back and closing this game out.
So, Rex, that's the point. So you got one side of the line of scrimmage. You got the other side of the line of scrimmage. This is where the game was decided. And I think all of us thought, we talked about this. Now, you picked them yesterday on Sunday NFL Countdown, Buffalo to win the game. But I think the general conventional wisdom coming in was the Bills are kind of on the ropes. New England is the team on the come-up. Kansas City has found its stride. What is the storyline today after Buffalo pummeled them on both sides of the line of scrimmage?
Well, look, this team was built to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And when I look at it, and we've talked about it before, D. Wood, Andy Reid's the only offensive line coach that doesn't like to run the ball.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
to me, it's set up. Buffalo is outstanding in pass coverage and with the pass rush they got with Bosa and things. So it plays right into their hands. That's why I took them to win, because I know Kansas City's not going to run the football. Look, Buffalo can't stop a nosebleed when you run the ball. Kansas City doesn't do it. They're built for Kansas City this year.
The Chiefs will be getting back Josh Simmons, their left tackle. He's been out for a while. And when he comes back, and that's expected to be fairly soon, that will help stabilize the offensive line. That will be an advantage for the Chiefs moving forward. The other thing I say is Buffalo played a very impressive game, was strong up front, did everything that you should want to do to win a game, and you can't help but applaud them. But I would just say, that's great. They won another regular season game against the Chiefs. Let me know when they beat them in the postseason. Let me know when that happens, because it hasn't happened yet. Patrick Mahomes is 4-0 against the Buffalo Bills. And when it matters, the Chiefs get it done. And even when yesterday, when Matt Prater missed that field goal, it was almost like, you can't put this team away. They did. And they deserved to win the game. They were the better team yesterday. But again, I want to see that in the postseason.
You know, it's funny, because I think there's a perception here that Patrick Mahomes always outplays Josh Allen. Quite honestly, that is 100% wrong. Patrick, you know, the Kansas City Chiefs have never beat Josh Allen. They've beaten the Bills, but never Josh Allen. Josh Allen, they have basically identical stats. 75.2 passer rating for Josh Allen, 74.6 for Patrick Mahomes. And, I mean, it's
games against each other.
It's like crazy. Like, this is such a matchup. It's Ali Frazier. It's the greatest thing. You have to see it. But I'm telling you, the Bills in the offseason, they made it a point of, we are going to build our team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the game script, and the game script in this particular game played into the Bills' hands. And the Chiefs,
how so?
Because they were able to run the ball the entire game. They never got their weaknesses tested. The Chiefs' weakness was tested. That offensive line was weak because of injuries. It was tested. The question we have about the Bills is not, can they run the ball? It's, are they going to be able to execute in the passing game if they're from behind? And we never really saw that. And in this particular game, it's also the Chiefs receivers should be able to take advantage of man coverage, and you know Mahomes is great against zone, but none of that mattered because there was a defender in Mahomes' lap the whole time. If they get healthy tackles back, we're looking at an entirely different game. This game does not tell me that the Bills are going to beat them in the playoffs. It shows me that the Bills are going to keep the game close because they're capable of it. But who really knows what's going to happen in the playoffs, because we've seen what's happened.
They have to get by they, I mean Kansas City needs to get their offensive line back together. My overriding feeling as I was watching that game yesterday, D. Wood, was they're going to, and I don't mean to say this cavalierly on a day where we had a really serious quarterback injury, but they're going to get Patrick Mahomes hurt. He got hit so many times yesterday, so hard. They cannot allow that. And that's a Buffalo defense. I know they can rush the passer. That is not a dominant Buffalo defense by any means, and they beat the heck out of Patrick Mahomes yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just watching the game. Like, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to even last the whole game.
That's what I was thinking,
you know,
too.
the way they decided to rush Patrick Mahomes, they just kept them squeezed inside the pocket, and those guys were just teeing off on him.
The other thing that's notable is that the Chiefs have had a habit in recent years of putting away teams in close games. If we go back to last year, I think they were 11-0 in close games.
Yes.
This year, in games decided by a touchdown,
one score,
they're 0-4.
Correct.
0-4. So they have been missing some sort of killer instinct this year, and maybe that'll come around and it'll show up later in the year as it did for them last year, but so far it's missing.
Well, they're not the only one. Look, we keep talking about Buffalo's got to deal with New England in their division. Kansas City has to deal with Denver in their own
and
division.
the Chargers.
And you can see the thing is flipped now. The Chiefs have fallen below Indy and the Bills. Indy, not such a good day either. Well, games of the day, Colts, Steelers. We thought showdown. We thought Colts are going to prove something. Well, it was the Steeler defense that forced 6 turnovers, 5 of them from Daniel Jones. He threw 3 picks and lost 2 fumbles. T.J. Watt had a strip sack and a fumble recovery. Then the turnovers just kept on coming. Here was Aaron Rodgers after a big win on his team's defensive performance.
We're all human, and I think those guys felt, pretty upset, had a little red eyes about what's been going on. So I'm proud of them, the way they came back and responded.
It's a fine line between drinking wine and squashing grapes in this business. We're still the same group that stunk it up last week. That's football.
Okay, I like it. There's nothing better than a fine line between drinking wine and squashing grapes. So the Steeler defense, when people talk about, Rodgers is saying there have been critics. You were one of them,
Absolutely.
no question about it. What do we say about the Pittsburgh Steelers? That Mike Tomlin says that's still the same unit that stunk it up the last few weeks.
Yeah, last week he said he meant the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But look, this is the highest paid defense in the league.
Right.
But they actually showed up, and it was such a dominant performance. They got outgained by 143 yards in this game. But that's another story. But they did. They get the 6 takeaways. They're going to play like this. They're going to be able to compete for this division. And to me, that's what we've been waiting. That's what we expected. And quite honestly, all season, they've had 2 games where this defense has showed up.
Right.
So, Tomlin's right. I want to see it again.
So were they squashing grapes or drinking wine yesterday? What did you take away from it, Domonique?
I don't know I don't know which one is good or which one's bad, but I know that this did not feel as great as I think it should. If I'm watching the Steelers, like this is the second time that they've had an enormous turnover margin. So they had the turnover margin by 5. They won by 7.
Yeah.
I think if you go back to 2020, the average is you win by 23. Then they had that New England game earlier in the season. Won the turnover battle by 4. They had 5 turnovers in that game. Won it by 7. I'm not optimistic about this team. They can pull it together and things break their way sometimes and they can win. But I don't leave this game feeling like, oh, Steelers back on track. It feels a little bit different than that.
Right, I agree. You made me think of it that way. My first thought was, oh, look at T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
I had forgotten what he looked like. And all of a sudden, there he is out there making plays. And then you point out they make all these turnovers, and they still only win the game by a little bit. So there's the Steelers side of the story, and then there's the other side of the story. You know what the conversation is out there.
Man.
Oh, the Giant fans are in my ear right now, John Fink. I hear you. Oh, the Giant fans loved watching the true Danny Dimes yesterday. The people are going to come out and say the Colts are frauds. Do you believe yesterday was a bad game or a bad sign for the Colts?
I think it was a bad game. I think if you look at the body of work of the Indianapolis Colts, they honestly, they've been truly dominant this season. And a lot of that starts up front, to be honest with you. That's where they got whipped. They got whipped up front. This is the first time this season where that Colts offensive line got whipped. And then everything transpired from there. Danny Dimes was rattled, throwing picks, fumbles, all those type of things. How many times are we going to see that same Indianapolis Colts offensive line get whipped? I probably can count on one hand if it happens again this season. So that's why I'm going with that's a bad game, not a bad sign.
I think people were waiting to be able to take these shots at Daniel Jones, and they can go right ahead. But if you watch that game, there's not anything that very many quarterbacks can do in that situation, the way that they were getting beat up front, and this team has been reliant on that running attack. You take away that running attack, and you don't give him the time. You have press man coverage that's so tight the entire game. You got a man in your lap. Like, I think it's fair to say Daniel Jones isn't going to be Josh Allen, but nobody thought that. I think that if they can get back to running the ball and protecting him the way they were, he's going to get back to lighting it up again.
But, Nick, that was what I was shocked by, that they couldn't get separation against this team when we saw. Look, they never changed anything. It's it's the same scheme for the last 2 weeks, but they were getting crushed by everybody. And here, I don't know, I was just shocked by it. I think it's a bad sign. Look, the naysayers are going to say, who have they beat?
Right.
A bunch of crappy teams.
Right.
All right? So I think it's a sign, but you're right. I mean, they got to get back to running the football. If they don't, they're in trouble.
Well, Jonathan Taylor had been the MVP candidate. Didn't look like that. Daniel Jones had been the Offensive Player of the Year. Didn't look like that. So they've got to get back on track. They're still in a division where they're going to be the favorite. They still have a chance to obviously win that division, be the #1 seed. But that was a bad game and a bad sign.
Yeah. It was a very rough day. And look, I had people calling me up saying, have the Colts played anyone but Tennessee this entire season? Chargers. That's the thing. Yeah, they beat the Chargers. They lost to the Rams. That was it was a bad game for sure. We'll find out soon, I suppose, if it was a bad sign. Then we had the Vikings and the Lions yesterday. J.J. McCarthy. Look at him there. A quiet moment of meditation before he returned. And you know what came to him in that meditation? Throw the ball to Justin Jefferson.
JJ to JJ for 6. I don't care who you talk to, what you believe in. You throw it at 18, good thing's going to happen.
6 minutes to play in the third. Vikings are up 17-14. And Rex, here comes J.J. McCarthy, and there he goes.
Yeah, on 3rd and 9, or 3rd and 7, are you absolutely crazy here? Give Hutz a two-way go. Let's cover him up with the tackle. Great play by J.J. McCarthy.
They're up by 10, and they're doing the gritty. Now 7 minutes to go, and they had pressure on Jared Goff. Damien, all day long.
Man, it seemed like they were running the same pressures every single time, and they were getting home against Jared Goff.
That forces a Lions field goal, except they've got other ideas. We're blocked in. Isaiah Rodgers is going the other way.
Yeah, there's a push down the middle that knocks the center right off, the snapper right off. They get this block, and this was the story of the game. Big plays around the quarterback.
They turn it into a field goal, so now they're up 10. 2 minutes left in the game.
Oh,
Jamison Williams.
Hey, oh my God. They had the most explosive player in the league that they never used.
They do get a touchdown there, so it's a 3-point game. So here we go. Here's your ball game on a 3rd and 5. A first down ends it, and look at that throw.
J.J. McCarthy made plays every time he had to. He doesn't lose in the state of Michigan, and he didn't lose yesterday.
And afterwards, J.J.
Bias.
gets a
little
hero's
bit of bias.
welcome. Look at the hero's welcome for him in the locker room.
What was your reaction when you got back to the locker room?
It was awesome. Yeah, just when you're hurt, being on IR last year and being out for 5 weeks, it absolutely kills me not being out there with those guys because I love every single one of them. And, I know they got my back and I got theirs the rest of the way.
Okay, so, there you go. That is quite a moment. Now, it is worth pointing out. You said it, yeah.
No, to be clear, that was emotional. I love it. But KOC don't love him. He did the same thing to Darnold last year. We was all chanting and shaking him up and down.
Right.
Where is he at now? Seattle.
And dealing. He got a huge contract.
But I almost cried listening to him because I felt it too. But then I remembered that looks very similar.
And here's how I felt watching that game. Where's my camera? Over here. Camera, Cindy, KOC, I apologize. I doubted you for a moment. I had a moment of doubt. Kevin O'Connell is the best coach in the National Football League. I've said it before. It is my dream that he someday winds up coaching the Jets. And I doubted you for a minute. I was like, Darnold, Daniel Jones, they got it all wrong. J.J. McCarthy, this is a huge mistake. No, I was wrong. He was right. I apologize, KOC. He's back on track. Here come the Vikings. They've got their quarterback. They made the right call. Rex.
They did. This game was won in the offseason. All right, they did all that self-study. Why? Because Detroit, quite honestly, owned this football team.
Right.
They'd score always, every time they played Flores, they'd score over 30 points. Mm-hmm. They'd out-coach them. They'd out-physical them. They did all of that stuff. Not this game. And it started with all the audible checks that Detroit would have. They'd audible right back. And so, to me, it was one in the offseason. Brian Flores with all that cross-dog stuff, running the same blitz over and over. And Detroit always were so used to them making adjustments and responding. They didn't. And this is one of the rare times. I think the best coach is Dan Campbell. And quite honestly, I think this is one of the rare games that he got out-coached here. They got every phase of the game. Special teams, check Minnesota. All right, huge returns, block kick, all that. All right, defense. Without question, their defense outplayed Detroit's. Yep. And offensively, the same thing. And so, to me, they won all these phases. The game wasn't as close as the score said it was.
Nope, right.
It really wasn't. Now, what I want to see the adjustments that Campbell makes in-house. How are we going to get back to being the Detroit Lions? And by the way, we talk about it. Nick and I are watching. I go, this kid right here is the most damn explosive kid in the league. Yeah. How does he not get 10 targets? No,
Jamison Williams.
But two of them, Gibbs and Jamison Williams, and they disappear in this game. They ought to get 20 attempts for Gibbs every game and 10 at least for Jamison Williams, at least.
Gibbs seemed to barely be out there.
Yep.
Jamison Williams wasn't involved until that touchdown pass, and they got outplayed and outcoached the way they did in the opening game against the Green Bay Packers
100%.
Early in the year. They need to adjust that. But I will say this, back to J.J. McCarthy a second. That guy had more pressure and more questions about him going to that game than just about any player in the league yesterday. And he stepped up and delivered in a huge way.
Can I reel back the McCarthy love just a little bit?
Okay.
I thought he was very good in this game, but he has a knack, and I think you'll appreciate this, Adam. He has a knack for making loud plays. because when that game was over, I was like, man, that guy's awesome. Then I go back and rewatch the game. It's like, he made 3 or 4 good plays. Like right here, this is one of his good plays. There's a double team on Justin Jefferson. He reads it and finds Naylor. Naylor adjusts and makes a great play.
It's the game-winning play right there.
It's a loud play. That running touchdown. It's a loud play. But this game was not won by J.J. McCarthy. I didn't walk away from this game saying they found this quarterback. They got 3 scoring drives that started on the 36-yard line of the opponent and going in. Blocked field goal, a bunch of turnovers. Like this was everything around him made him perform.
But that's how he has always done it.
Right.
His
Agreed.
record in high school and college was 63-3. He always makes the plays when it matters.
Respect.
And there were questions about him. That could not have been a tougher spot to walk into. Everybody thought Detroit was going to walk all
I thought
over
they were
them.
gonna crush them.
Right?
That's his quarterback. Don't mess with Schefter's quarterback.
My only point is if we're comparing him this weekend to Sam Darnold, let's chill out a little bit.
Sam Darnold is unbelievable.
Let's chill out a little bit.
Hey, I got to say this too. You know what? You know what a best friend of
Schefter
a quarterback is? A running game.
Yeah.
27 rush attempts, 134 yards. So that makes it easy.